Okay, and now I'm getting close to... We're down to the bowels of the forge. This is near the Lowsec areas of the forge. I should mention though, you can, if you want a nice map of EVE Online's regions, if you just Google EVE Online Maps PDF, you can download a nice map. It has, each page has all the systems in a region, and also the links to other systems and all the jumps and where the how many asteroid belts and how many ice fields and the stations and everything that you could want. So just download that map. It'll probably be a great help too, especially if you want to visualize where I am right now. So I'm way down in the forge past Hent. You might know of that one. The Hent has a shitload of stations and asteroid belts in it and has a lot of people usually in it. I'm one jump away from that, and that is kind of around where all the Lowsec is. So what this is going to be about is building carriers, and up from that, like dreadnoughts, can only be done in a Lowsec station or nullsec station. You can't do it in high-sec, can't build them in high-sec. And so you have to both get blueprints into that station with factory slots, as well as you need to get minerals into that station. Well, how do you do that when you got Lowsec? Lowsec is no concord. You can attack someone anywhere you like, but there are station and gate guns, and I'll show you those when we get in there. So normally what I've been doing, maybe I'll get into my ship first. What I had been doing, so we've got the small minerals, the expensive but small volume minerals like Zidron and Megasite and the other ones, the black one I can't think of now. And you've got the more voluminous titanium and pyrite, which you can't haul in a little thing like this. Here is a covert ops ship. This is a freighter covert ops ship, but you can also get like little frigates that you can put a what do you call it? A cloaker on this thing here. Okay, this allows you to cloak. You can move when you're cloaking, but not very fast. If you run into anything, it will uncloak you. You can also, if you get damaged, if you get hit with a bomb or something, then it'll pull you out of cloak, and then you can be targeted. The advantage of cloaking is you can't be seen by a pilot, and you can't be targeted. So that's the importance, and that's what we want. Like I said, this particular ship is a freighter, or is a industrial, so it has cargo. And I use this ship to haul in small amounts of minerals, so like the Zidron and the Isogen and all that. If I can just get my head around the annoying new interface they have for dealing with assets and stuff. So I've got cans in here. There's my cargo capacity. There's cans. The reason I have the cans is because they actually hold more than they take up in space in the ship. It's a physics paradox. So I just put some minerals in here, and we're going to haul that in. And just some Isogen I had sitting in here. Okay, so we're going to undock. So what we're about to do here is we're about to go into Lowsec where we can possibly be blown up. So we have to take precautions. What I used to do is I used to actually haul in with a freighter, titanium and pyrite and everything I needed, because I had no other way of getting it in there. So yes, I would take a Charon or a Fenrir, which is the Mimitar version, and I would take it into Lowsec, as vulnerable as that is, because you could just get scrammed and webbed and then blown up. And I was caught once. I'll tell you about that later. The first thing I used to do is I would take a covert ops frigate, so not this, but a covert ops frigate, and I would go and I would scout. And I'm going to do a little bit of that now just with this thing. So I'm going to go into Otsella. That's Lowsec. Where is it here? There it is right there. And I'm going to go in cloaked. As soon as I get away from the station here. The first line of defense, actually, before I even do that, the first line of defense is using the map, and I should have done that first. So I'm going to have to, well, we'll see if anybody's standing there. Probably won't be a big deal. Okay, so there's no one around. Okay, I'll just stand here. There could be someone cloaked off to the side, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. The first thing you do is you're going to go to the map, and you're going to look for, try to get a sense of the population that could be in Otsella. So let's look at jumps in the last hour. Oh, this stupid thing's not going to work again. I don't know why it won't show me info. That's okay. The map's not working correctly right now. It's supposed to show me the jumps per hour and all that. Bring up a little window, but it's screwed up. Okay, where is the this thing? So right now I have it on jumps in the last hour, but I also used to look at ships destroyed in the last 24 hours. Oh, jeez. That's not good. I wish I could find the data. Okay, so Otsella right now has had some activity, which is not a good thing. It means that there's possibly people sitting on the gates watching. So on a day like this, I would never take a freighter in there. But I can't take a covert ops, because they're not going to be able to see me anyways. I also look at, so jumps per hour, average pilots in the space, all those kinds of things I would look at, and I would actually look at the information, but I can't because it's bugged right now. It's not working. It's not showing me the info. It would normally bring up a window and it would say what's in there, but I don't know why it's messed up right now. Okay, so then I would gauge if it's quiet, it's a quiet system, and then if it was, then I would go in with a covert ops ship, and I would look around, and I would use the D-scan, this thing here. And this can tell you if there's any. I guess you don't want to do so far away. You could do like 100,000 kilometers off the what's it called? Off the gate. Now, interesting. We have a ship here. It's probably off. It might be on a planet. Sometimes you can pick up ships, but sometimes it's a false. I don't think you can. The D-scan won't pick up cloaked vessels, so that won't matter anyways. But sometimes if someone who's hanging out looking to get you, he'll sit off. I don't know. There's a range. Like I can see right now so far, right? But there's a certain distance in which then the person is not visible to you, and you'd have to fly out there to see him. And that's where they would sit, so they don't appear on your overview. But they can't cloak because they have a ship that doesn't have a cloak on it, or they can't fit a cloak. They have weapons and stuff that they want to use instead. And so they would sit there and they would be constantly D-scanning, looking for people like me sitting on the gate, or they make it lucky and they find someone that's warping in. And then they would come in and they would try to get me, try to find me. So sometimes you might use the D-scan, you might see someone like this. There's an impairer. It's possible that the ship is not manned and it's sitting in a player-owned station bubble. Sometimes you see like freighters, or like a badger. Sometimes you'll see badgers on your D-scan, like in a player-owned station bubble. You'll just scan them and you'll see a bunch of stuff like that. So that's not what you're worried about. You're worried about seeing this, but in terms of HiSec and where I am, he's probably sitting on this customs office or something. So I don't think he's looking for me. In any case, he's not going to get me in a covert ops ship. But if I was doing the freighter tactic I used to do, I sure as hell wouldn't be doing it today. So let's go in there. Then we're going to jump into Lowsec. So now we're going to be vulnerable. So we are vulnerable to get hit if there's people in here, especially if there's a cloud of people on a gate. So now I'm in Lowsec. After you appear, after you jump into a system, you are invisible. You are essentially cloaked no matter what ship you have. You're only cloaked for about a minute though, and then you're going to appear. So now we're looking around. We can D-scan right now if we want. So there's a belt, so nothing is around unless it's cloaked. Now if you have a cloaked vessel, you have to do this very carefully. You're going to warp and you're going to cloak immediately as soon as you warp. Because as soon as you say to the ship, okay, I want to warp to the station, it's going to pull you out of cloak, but you want to cloak again. So there. So now I appeared and then I cloaked again. And so now I'm warping. You can warp cloaked as I am right now. And so there, for them, there was no possibility. The only ways that could have gotten me there is if they had people right around the gate that could have smart bombed me out of cloak or bumped me out of cloak, which means that they would have ran into me. There would have been so many people around the system that they would have been, or around the gate, that they would have been able to run into me, quickly move over there and run into me, so I couldn't cloak and warp away. And as soon as I'm uncloaked, they can target me and try to scram me, and that scram holds me here. It doesn't allow me to warp. So here's the station that I use for building carriers and stuff. Oh, another thing you should check is local. Look at all the people in local. So this is a bad day, but I'm in a covert op, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so this is the system I use. I've got all kinds of blueprints and stuff in here, and minerals and all that. I've got quite a bit of minerals sitting in here. I actually thought I had little, because I haven't built stuff out here in a long time. I just have been lazy and Eve, and I haven't really been building much. So I'll just dump that stuff in here. I'll stack it. So I've got, as you can see, there's a dreadnought and 3 carrier BPOs that I use to build. The Revelations and a Mark dreadnought, and these are carriers, 2 Caldari and 1 Galente carrier. And these are all the components that build those things, and then there's minerals. So like I said, I used to bring in titanium and pyrite with a freighter, which is very, very risky. I would scout as I did, then I would warp back out into Chianti. I would get into the freighter, I would load it up, I would pray that nothing bad happened, then I would warp to the gate, I would jump in, then I would warp to the station, hope no one ganked me. And that was how I did it, and I did that for a long time. I used to also, a couple times I had a buddy scout for me too, so he would sit in the station and watch it every second. But I only did that a few times, and it wasn't really a big deal. I was caught once. A guy had a Myrmidon, which is a Galente battlecruiser. He wasn't cloaked. I think he was outside. I don't think maybe I didn't D-scan or something, or maybe, I don't know how it happened. Maybe he was cloaked. I'm not sure now. I guess he could have been cloaked. And so he saw me come in with the Fenrir, and he approached, because the Fenrirs take, you saw this ship warps in about 6, 7, 8 seconds. Although I was cloaked, so I wasn't targetable. A freighter takes about 40 seconds to warp, 30 seconds, something like that. So that's vulnerable. You can get nailed. So he warped up, he scrammed me and webbed me, and webbing slows you down. And I was like, holy shit. It was just him. He had a couple crappy heavy missile launchers that was trying to blow me up. This is a freighter. You can't take down a freighter with a battlecruiser. It takes too long. So I simply flew back, because the warp scram prevents you from warping away. So I couldn't warp to the station I wanted to. The webbing just slows you down to about 10 meters per second or 20 meters per second, something like that. So I could still move, but very slowly. I was about, 15K away from the station, so I just flew back to the station. Slowly, but I flew back. It probably took about 20 minutes to fly back, but he only had crappy missile launchers. He couldn't take down a freighter in 20 minutes. So I just flew back and warped and jumped back out of the system. I was heavily damaged, but it wasn't that close, really. He probably got me down to about past half, but that was it. So, but that's all I've been caught. But of course, those are risky things to haul in freighters in. That's probably to experienced players hearing that would be pretty ridiculous unless you've got backup. People obviously haul freighters around in Lowsec and in Zero-Sec, I mean, but they've got protection when they do that. They've got a fleet of people. Now, if I was ganked by a fleet, then I would have been blown up for sure, and he would have gotten, I don't know, maybe 80 million trite, which you would have had to bring a freighter of his own to pick up. So, like, I don't know, the rewards of Lowsec ganking is low. It's more territory and fun. It's not wealth. Okay, what else do I have to say about it? Okay, so rather than doing the bioder thing, or rather than doing the freighter thing, I now use bioders to do the big ones. So this titanium and this pyrite here, and even the mechs, I don't haul in anymore. It's too risky. What I do is I put a bioder in the station for people to sell it to me, and I pay a premium. And I don't think I do that anymore. I actually don't think I have any bioders up for that, because I haven't done this stuff in a while. I probably haven't built a carrier in a month, maybe 2 months. What you can do is you can put a bioder up for Triton and Pyre and mechs, and you're going to pay more, who is going to sell you those minerals in Lowsec for the same money as they can get in Jitta? Nobody. So you got to pay a premium, but it's worth it. If you're building carriers and dreadnoughts, it's worth it because those give you some pretty decent profit margins. I think last time I checked it was 30%, but I don't know what it is anymore. I haven't actually done the calculations. It's pretty good money though. So bioodors is what I use now for the big heavy stuff. Then the Nox and the Isogen and the Megasite and the Zidron, I would just bring down with a freighter, and then I would haul with this little guy. This guy can haul about 1.2 mil a run. So it'd take maybe 1.5 runs for Isogen, half a run, and then these just come along for free pretty much because they don't take up very much space. So what, about 3 runs I guess to bring in these guys, the more expensive but lower volume minerals. The isotopes I would also bring in with this guy, and these are heavier and these take longer to bring in. But these isotopes I pair with selling the carriers and the dreadnoughts, and that gives me extra cash. It's just like a little add-on that I can make some money on. It's a convenience thing. Okay, yeah, that's it, I guess, for Lowsec. There's lots of people sitting in local, which means that they're in the system. There's what, about 5 people in the station I'm in. I don't know where the other guys are. What I would also used to do is I'd show info on them to see what they were, to see if they're pirates or not. He's got a 4.6 security status. He's unlikely to be a pirate. Pirates will have low security statuses because every time you hit somebody, you'll lose security status. You'll lose that. This guy also is unlikely to be a pirate. Let's see, who else? Zero. Zero standing, probably an alt. Let's see the employment history. 6 months old. So you can do stuff like that. You can look at their ages. If you go to employment history, look at how long, look at where they started. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, down here. Whoops, I looked at the wrong one. So this character is a year old. 0 sec status. What that means to me is they've done no missions and they've done no pirating unless they have done missioning and pirating and still maintained a 0 sec. That's unlikely though. Let's see, look at this guy. He's got a positive sec rating. He's an old character, 2 years old. 3 years old, what am I saying? 3 years old. So unlikely to be a pirate. You can also look at the people in local here. Okay, he's got a negative sec, so that's a pirate. So he's engaged in combat with other players in low sec or high sec. I don't believe null sec gives you any security status minus. Null sec is fair game. There's no penalty on your security status. Low sec does give you negatives. High sec gives you negatives if you attack people. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's right, and if that's wrong, then just make a comment. Okay, so yeah, you can look at these people and see. Sometimes you're going to get big pirate corps, and you'll know it'll say like a wanted like that. So this guy's a pirate for sure. Look at his negative 8.5. He's got a, what, $1 million bounty? Oh, he's got $1 million. That's nothing. $1 million bounty is pointless. That's just like some coffee money. And you can look at their bios, and usually they have stupid stuff. And you can look at their corporations, and they got an alliance, what alliance they're in. Sometimes they'll say, we are a pirate corp. Beware us. We will pwn you. That kind of stuff. I remember what, years ago when I was bringing in stuff with a freighter, there was a alliance called the Idle Empire, the Idle Pirates. And I used to laugh about them because they were very idle. They weren't around very much, but sometimes you'd see them. But they were definitely pirates looking to attack people and stuff. Okay, so it's possible that there's... Sometimes they may wait for you outside the station, but I kind of doubt it. So let's leave and get out of here. I would say that right now the system is a medium risk. There are pirates in the system, but sometimes they're just sitting AFK. They're not really doing very much. So it's not a big deal right now. It's not a big deal right now in a covert ops ship like this. But if I was in a freighter, that would be bad. And what I would probably do right now is I would log off and I would come back in an hour and I would check local and see what's happening. So. Okay. I'll go back. There's someone outside the gate here in a shuttle, so not a big deal. He just warped away as well. But he had a yellow. Interesting is he had a yellow overlay, which means that he had attacked something in the past. I'm not sure what it is, 15 minutes, but that could be a rat. It might not be a player. So, okay, so we're warping out. I've got the cloak on, which means that we're going to approach the gate cloaked, so no one will see us coming in. We have to uncloak to jump, and we will do that as it's just doing right now, and then we will get out. So a person had half a second to target me and scram me, but no one's that fast, so no problem. Okay, so that's the brief tour of Lowsec for the use of industry. It is unsafe, absolutely. You can lose money in Lowsec. You can get your ship blown up. If you do it right, though, and you're not stupid like me bringing in freighters, which I actually did for quite a while, and I only got caught once, but I didn't get blown up. You can do it quite easily. You can use bioodors instead if you don't want to do the freighter thing, and I would recommend that, of course. But you're going to pay a premium. You're going to lose a little bit of money, but you're also going to you'll lose all the risk of losing your freighter. And that's where you got to build carriers and dreadnoughts. So that is it for this video. Post any questions you have, and I guess if I get enough of them again, I'll do another one of these.